What is going on, everybody, and welcome to a bonus episode of the Enter the Chat Gaming Podcast. My name is Nico. I'm here joined by my co-host Rico, and we just got done watching the PlayStation Showcase, and that's what we're here to talk about. But yeah, we just watched the PlayStation Showcase, and I'm going to start. We're not going to go through our normal, early rigmarole that we do at the start of every podcast. We're going to go right into it. And I just want to say, and this is probably something that me and Rico are going to disagree with. But for the most part, I would say I was fairly uninterested in the first half of the showcase. I got to say. The first half did not have me. It did not have my attention in the slightest. But the second half really made up for it. But it was so small that I'm still left wanting more. And I've mentioned this in the last episode of the podcast that I just want more from PlayStation. They gave me some stuff, okay? But it's all so very far away that I don't know how to feel about it per se. On top of that, I felt like there was some stuff in here that didn't need to be there, and some of the pacing was kind of weird. So I don't know. There's a lot I want to say about this. If you're watching the YouTube version, the video format, you'll notice that we have a special background. I threw up the PlayStation Enter the Chat logo as well as a blue background for this one. A little different than our normal background for the Enter the Chat because we are going to talk all things PlayStation and kind of give our thoughts. I'm going to let Rico say his thoughts now that I've got mine out of the way. Go ahead. What'd you think? I know you're much more excited than I am.
Show us a back!
Well, it was good.
I will say, like, I can understand, like, that first half part, like, compared to the second half, yeah, it was a bit more lackluster, but that's, like, where, like you said, me and you differed. There was definitely stuff in that first half that interested me, which...
100%. I'm not discrediting. There was some stuff in the first half that did, pique my interest. It really got me excited for a couple things, but all of it collectively was just... it was
Yeah.
I think they did a good thing, okay? They really focused on the games. They just threw a bunch of games at us. They didn't talk too much, and I appreciated that.
Yeah.
The one thing, before we talk about the actual games that I thought was interesting, is they made no reference to there being a restock or any reference to the availability of the PS5.
Yeah.
Which I thought was interesting.
Interesting, maybe a good move, because, like, obviously this is more so focused on, like, just the games, like, coming out on PlayStation, the future of PlayStation, basically. I feel like something like that wouldn't really be announced in a showcase like this. Maybe, like, some other kind of, like, a live stream or conference that talks more about their software, they would make an update like that. Mm-hmm. That's just my thoughts on it.
I thought it was odd. I thought it was just a little odd that, we haven't had this available. It hasn't been on shelves. Like, you can go to Target and find a Series S right now. You could go get a next-gen Xbox. Might not be the Series X, but you can get the digital version. Whereas with PlayStation, you just can't freaking find it. So I thought maybe we'd get a little glimmer of that. Also, a couple other things I was really looking forward to, like The Last of Us factions possibly getting announced and stuff like that, was not here. And I was a little disappointed on some of the stuff that we predicted would be here and was missing. Like the whole Spider-Man coming to Avengers release date, that was nowhere to be found.
Or like all those rumors that were going around about like some sort of something being worked on for Sly Cooper or Infamous, basically one of those two. I was hoping at least one of them to be in the showcase, but sadly neither were there, and that just left me sad.
Yeah, but let's talk about the good. Let's talk about the awesome that was in this showcase. Rico's got a list for us, and we're just going to go down the list, and we'll kind of talk about the things that interested us or didn't interest us, and we'll give our thoughts, and that's going to be the episode for you guys.
All right, so we'll just go off, like, the good thing about this list is that everything's in order that was announced, so
perfect.
So we'll basically just work our way up, like, from the first announcement all the way down to the very last one. So first one that honestly caught me off guard and actually surprised me, a Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic remake.
Yes.
Now, I never played the original, and I don't know a ton about it, but I know it's, like, universally beloved in terms of Star Wars games.
Yes, and I thought that the fact that it is a PlayStation 5 exclusive was very interesting. That is a big grab on PlayStation's part. To
Huge
snag
grab.
that Star Wars game of all the Star Wars games, like, it would have been big had they gotten, Jedi Fallen Order 2, whatever that's going to be. But the fact that they got Knights of the Old Republic, a full remake, is crazy. Now, we don't know if it's a timed exclusive or anything, but showing it off here and saying it's built for PlayStation 5, that's going to be insane, especially when you think about like how it's going to work with the DualSense and stuff like that. It's going to be really, really cool.
Plus, it'll be interesting because, like, well, obviously we don't know what'll come out before then, but it'll be like the first Star Wars game in quite some time that's not going to be made by EA because they're not listed as a developer behind it.
I will say, I think starting with this was an interesting decision.
I think it was good because they really wanted to show like what to expect because this was something that, with all like the predictions and speculation, I can guarantee you probably nobody was expecting this. So this was like their big reveal to really get everyone's attention. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, like I get that, I really do, but at the same time, I was immediately grabbed by that. I was like, oh, we're getting Star Wars. Oh, it's Knights of the Old Republic. This is gonna be awesome. And then I was like, they're starting so strong, and then it was kind of for a while. They didn't keep the tempo.
Yeah, I feel like that's kind of like what seems like the usual like PlayStation method. They'll typically start off strong, and then they'll kind of trickle down a little bit with either like new announcements or like an update or two on games that have been announced but you haven't seen much on yet. So I feel like that follows the usual PlayStation formula. Not necessarily a good formula, but it fits their IP basically. Now, next game we got out here was, speaking of new IP, was a new IP. A game so far going by the name of Project Eve. That like sci-fi post-apocalyptic action-adventure game, which looks to have like some like Souls-like elements, which a lot of action-adventure games seems to be having lately.
Yep.
And
that's the one with the anime chick, right? Where they paused on her butt at the start of the trailer.
Yep.
Yeah, I have zero interest in that game. I'm gonna be honest. That game, I saw that and I was like, okay, move it along. I don't care. It just it gave me like Bayonetta vibes. And if I'm gonna play Bayonetta, I'm just gonna boot up my Switch. I'm not interested.
Oh no, no one can touch Bayonetta. I mean, you got you're a hot Japanese lady. You got your little robot companion. It looks like you're fighting these, God knows what, aliens, some sort of deformed, abomination with religious meanings behind it, from what I could tell from the trailer. But it is something I'll definitely be looking out for in the future.
No desire from me. Fair. But what's next? What do we got?
Next up was the trailer showing off gameplay for Tiny Tina's Wonderland, the Borderlands spin-off game.
That looks pretty neat. I really, honestly, I'm into Borderlands. I like Borderlands. They showed this off, and I knew it was supposed to be Borderlands-esque, but I like that they've kind of turned it into, like, everybody's playing a tabletop RPG, and you're, like, playing as the characters of the characters playing the RPG. It seems really cool. It seems really cool, and I like the art style and the different direction. And they gave us more Borderlands without like putting us in the same shit we've played through 4 separate times in Borderlands.
I think what really sold me on like the trailer was like two things. One, it looked like some really cool different enemy designs aside from like what you said, like the usual Borderlands stuff. There looked to be some like really zany stuff in there, like the killer mushroom people. And then two, the fucking music for the trailer being baby metal.
Yep. I thought it was a really good trailer. I thought it was good. I'm sold. I'll get it. Did that one get a release date?
Yes, it is actually coming out March 25th next year, so not that far off.
Okay.
Yeah, so
now the question becomes, do they add crossplay? If they add crossplay effectively, then I can play it on Xbox. I'll probably get it there over PlayStation, but at the same time, if they don't, I'll probably get it on PlayStation because I know for a fact Joe'll be playing it.
No, yeah.
But yeah, that one really had my attention.
I really hope so. I really do hope PlayStation comes around the whole crossplay thing because, I mean, there's crossplay on Borderlands, but not with PlayStation, which is very odd still that
Yes.
they made that decision. So hopefully, at least with this, like by the time this comes out, they rectify that decision and maybe even make an announcement like, hey, now you can do the same on Borderlands 3 or something like that. And then, okay, next up, after Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, we finally got our first like real like story and gameplay look into Forspoken, that new IP from Square Enix. And
Yes. It looked
oh,
okay. It looks interesting. I will
it
say
looked
that.
nice.
It looks interesting. I'll be honest, okay? I'm gonna lay this out for you, and you're probably gonna get mad at me, okay? Pretty much for the first half of the showcase, if the game didn't immediately grab my attention, I was fucking around on OBS and doing other shit, like getting ready for this podcast and getting ready for like my doing stuff for my main channel, not really paying attention because a lot of the games just didn't grab me. This was one of them. Forspoken looks cool. It's not something that immediately I'm like, that's a game I have to have. I have to pre-order it. I need this in my life now. It wasn't that game for me.
You essentially play God. I will say though, when the when the trailers like started out, when the girl got like transported to the other world, I was immediately getting, because I just saw this in theaters. I immediately got like Shang-Chi vibes because one, she got teleported through a portal, and then she had all those like rings on her arm, and I'm just like, is this Shang-Chi related? But no, it was Forspoken, which I'm okay with because I wanted to see more on the game, and I was not disappointed. And it was funny because Nag joined in with me to like watch the rest of the showcase, and he said for whatever reason it was reminding him of the prototype games, if you remember those.
Yep.
Yeah, also great games. Give me another one.
I agree. I got them both on PlayStation.
Same. I want to start playing them again. And oh yeah, and then Forspoken, doesn't have a solid release date, but it does say spring 2022, which I feel like if
Their
there's no
spring
release date
2022
now,
lineup is looking solid.
very solid. I won't be surprised though if this gets delayed a little bit, just a little bit.
I wouldn't be surprised either, but like right now they have so much lined up for spring 2022. I can see a lot of their games getting pushed back a little bit so they don't like cannibalize themselves, you know?
Pretty much. So after that, we got like we probably won't have to talk about this too. We got another look at Rainbow Six Extraction, which that game. I'm not saying it's a bad game, but it's one that it hasn't necessarily like grabbed me a lot. I will say it's cool for like its unique take on like a zombie game, especially how it seems more strategic and actually like thought out, aside from the usual zombie games where you're just a ragtag group of ruffians taking on the zombie apocalypse. No, this seems like more strategic.
See, I'm gonna take the opposite side of the fence on this one, okay? I'm very much looking forward to this game. I like very much because I really like Rainbow Six Siege, but I don't like the sweaty nature of the PvP in Rainbow Six Siege. I'm very much looking forward to this game because it looks like they took what was awesome about Rainbow Six Siege and made a PvE mode where you're fighting the zombies instead of each other, and I really like that. I'm really looking forward to this game because it's more of like, let's go in and see what we can do versus I need to be good at this game to actually have fun with it. And I was not good at Rainbow Six Siege, so I spent most of my time spectating my teammates. So it's like, this is more my speed, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Right, and I mean, even though I say that, I might still get it because one of the things that like really burned me out on Rainbow Six Siege, like you said, is like just how sweaty it was, and I was not good either. And I was like, damn, I want to like hop into a game and then die off rip and then have to watch the rest of the match. So that was basically the main reason why I stopped playing it.
Yeah.
So let's see. After that, now this was a game that was already confirmed before the showcase, like it was either yesterday or day before. But an Alan Wake remaster announced that's actually coming out this October, towards the beginning of October.
I did. Yep, that was surprising because wasn't that previously an Xbox game?
It was. That's why they said in like the trailer for the first time on PlayStation. So that's a very interesting one. The fact that now we're getting that on PlayStation and
I have no idea. I'll be
less.
honest. I never played the original. I have no idea
Same.
what it's about. It looks like a horror game. I'm in. That's all
Yeah.
you needed to say. I like horror games. I've been feeling the itch to play some DBD lately, just because we're getting close to Halloween, and all the new horror movies are lining up. The new Michael Myers movies coming. I'm in that mood, so this is gonna hit the spot.
Yeah. I mean, all I can tell you about the Alma games is that you're, like you said, you're a writer trying to find your wife, and you have these like otherworld demonic or ghostly beings after you, and you're only line of defense is to shine them with light and then shoot them. That's the gist of what I know of Alan Wake. But okay, so then after that, they did the trailer for the GTA 5 and GTA Online next gen update, which is gonna be coming out next March. Doesn't have like a solid date, just says March 2022.
See, that was another one I didn't pay any attention to because
Yeah,
I'm not a big GTA guy to begin with. Okay, I think I understand why people love them. I understand why they're good. I could never get into them. On top of that, we've had this game since PlayStation 3.
yeah,
I don't care anymore. Okay, I
right,
don't care.
right up there with fucking Skyrim in terms of games that will never die.
Yeah, like I just don't care. Just put it out whenever it's ready, right?
Yeah. I mean, when it does drop, I'll probably like dive in just to see like how it looks. I'd probably be more excited. I'm not saying I'm not excited, but it's not like crazy excitement. I'm just like, oh yeah, I'm looking forward to this. I'd probably be more excited if like with this next gen update came like some addition to like the single player story mode, like maybe a new short like 10-20 hours story or something like that. But no, just the next gen like graphical update. Probably dual sense and adaptive trigger support. Probably nothing too crazy, but something to look forward to nonetheless. But then after that was a game I've been looking forward to a lot and been waiting to see more on is Ghostwire Tokyo. Basically the last game that's gonna come out Bethesda on PlayStation consoles.
That looks funky.
Very
I'm not
funky.
sure how to feel about it. I don't know if it's going to be a me game. This might be something I watch somebody else play on like YouTube or Twitch or something.
I like
I
the
don't
pretty colors.
I don't think it's something I will pick up, but it does look interesting enough that I want to know what's going on there, you know?
Yeah, it kind of so it's like it's directed by the same guy who like actually created the Resident Evil games. So
Uh-huh.
that one grabs me, and two, it also gave me that it kind of gave me the same vibes as when like Death Stranding was first announced. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what to make of this game, but I want more.
I was watching the trailer and I was like, this could be a Kojima game. If you told me
Yeah,
Kojima made this game, I
I
would
believe you.
100% believe it. Yeah. Like I was watching it and that was the first thing that came to my head.
I'm just like, oh, I'm fighting. It's just like, oh, I need to fight off Slender Man with with sign language. I'm down.
Yeah, like I was seriously sitting there. I was like, this kind of does remind me of Death Stranding when I first saw it.
Let's see. And then after that was a new trailer for the Guardians of the Galaxy game, which honestly was a pretty dope trailer. I won't lie.
Yeah, uh, don't get me wrong. I'm excited for that game. I'm ready
Right.
to play it. I didn't really need to see more of it.
Right.
I know what the Guardians is. I saw the gameplay at E3. I'm good. Just give me the game later. Quit making trailers. Quit spoiling it.
I feel like this could like I feel like this trailer could have been something that could have been saved for maybe like a Square Enix event, maybe not necessarily a PlayStation showcase. Because I
Yeah,
mean,
I just had no interest in it. I mean, I'm interested in the game. I'm going to play the game,
just
but
didn't care to see another trailer about
yeah,
it.
I just didn't really need this to take up space in my PlayStation showcase.
Right. And that's still, slated to come out October 26th this year, so still pretty soon. And then after that was a game that honestly kind of interested me a bit, even like so after that was Vampire the Masquerade Blood Hunt, that like
Yes.
that PvP game.
Okay.
That looked
Yes.
What are your thoughts on it?
Oh, okay. Okay. I was not sure what I was watching initially. I knew that this game kept getting delayed and pushed back and everything.
Right.
And I didn't know it was this game when they started showing the gameplay. But it looks super awesome. Like I'm really, really excited for this one because I played a game way back in the day on PC called Nosgoth where there was like vampire hunters versus vampires. It was a PvP game where you had different power-ups based on the type of vampire or the type of hunter you played. And this gave me such Nosgoth vibes, and I love that game. It's gone now. It's no more.
Yeah.
I love that game, and this gave me such Nosgoth vibes on the PvP, using the different vampire powers, and it just looks awesome to me. I'm down for this game, and I will be playing it.
Yeah, I was gonna say like just from the gameplay alone like already caught me, but then when I saw it was like basically kind of like warring factions between vampires, like I thought that was dope in its own right. It's like such a unique concept having like different types of vampires going head to head against each other, all with different abilities, and like all the crazy shit you can do, and how like big those PvP maps looks like, I'm sold on it. I honestly
It
am.
looks super, super cool. I'm
Yeah.
really keen, and it's coming soon. I think it's coming out by the end of the year. I thought I saw a 2021 release date on there, so I'm very, very keen on that.
So on this list, it has it as 2022 actually. So
I'll have to go back and double check it. I was fairly
Yeah.
confident I saw a 2021 release date.
Yeah, I was gonna say I wasn't sure because like at one point I kind of like looked away, and when I looked back, I was like, wait, did I miss like a release date for that? But I never went back to check. And
It looks super awesome though.
And then so after that was one I feel personally didn't really need to be at the showcase, but it was another.
Was it
trailer.
Deathloop?
Yep.
Yeah, I felt the same way, dude.
Yeah.
I've seen so much Deathloop at this point that I'm already sold. It's already on pre-order, okay? I don't care to see any more Deathloop. It comes out next week.
Yeah, it's like, Sony, you already have my money. What more are you trying to show? What more do you want me to give?
Just put out a launch trailer. Put out a launch trailer, and then that's it. That's all. I don't need the story of Deathloop explained again. It's been in it's been in a state of plays. We've seen it for the last 2 freaking years. I don't need to see more. I really don't.
Yeah, I was gonna say we don't really even need to talk about much of that because it's a game that has been talked about nonstop this year, pretty much. Because because basically this is Sony's like last big release for this year until we get into next year. So I mean, I get why, but at the same time, it really didn't need to be here.
Yeah.
But then after that was a weird one, in my opinion, that Kid A Amnesia exhibition made by Radiohead.
Is that the one where the kid was teleporting into the animals?
No, that was after that. This is the one where it was just like in like that corridor with a red light shining through, and there's like writing on the wall or something like that. I'm guessing it's. I'm guessing it's something based. I don't know much about Radiohead. You know, fucking hang me from the gallows. But I'm assuming it's based off of one of their albums or songs or something like that. I don't know. You'd have to ask Nag about that. He's more informed on that shit than I am. But yeah, then after that was the game that you mentioned, Tchia, with the one with the kid that was like diving in and basically possessing the wildlife on this island.
Yeah, I don't know what that was.
Yeah.
I'm not really. That was another one I only have paid attention to. I'll be honest with you. It did not interest me.
It's just weird, like compared to like all the other games shown, it was like something very different from everything we had seen it up to that point. It was like, okay, here comes like the cutesy indie game, and I'm just like, oh, it's got some feel good vibes. Did that kid just turn into a bird?
Yeah, like it was just weird. It was very freaking weird.
It was a weird game, but you know, it looks like one of those like feel good games like people would probably enjoy. Let's see, and all right, after that was something that I kind of like partially predicted. You know, it was a bit different than what I was expecting, but you know, still kind of called it nonetheless. We got an Uncharted 4 and Lost Legacy that's going to be getting remastered for PS5 and PC.
Yeah, the PC part was the thing that caught my attention. I figured this was coming because it had been rumored.
Yeah.
But the PC thing's really cool, and I think PlayStation needs to continue doing this, and they need to be a little quicker about it.
Yeah.
I think it's a great way for them to get their games out to more people. And you know, Xbox is already way on top of this. They're way ahead of the game in this regard, and I think PlayStation needs to match it, honestly, because there's so many people that would rather play those games on PC, but they're so slow. Like, you have to wait years before they eventually roll out the PC version, and I don't know. It's just, it doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, which I feel like they are going to start like picking up on eventually, because it was sometime earlier this year. I forget the name, but there was a studio that they acquired that's actually like well known for you know, doing PC ports of console games. So I feel like, you know, in the future they're definitely going to be, you know, revving that up a bit, getting some of their exclusives on PC.
Mm-hmm.
Now, after that, this is where we get into the tasty stuff. We're in the home stretch, people.
This is where the PlayStation Studios president came out, right? And he was like, "Here's the list of PlayStation Studios games that are coming in the future," and like everybody was like, "Ooh, this is the good stuff, the meat and potatoes, baby."
Here's your meat and potatoes. Here's the real good shit. And we came out swinging. You know, just imagine this, you know, a black screen. You see PlayStation Studios, and then you see Insomniac. Now, when you see Insomniac,
dude, okay,
immediately it went to Spider-Man. But no.
Yes, 100%. I was like, oh, we're getting Spider-Man 2. And then it goes into that bar scene. It goes into the bar scene, and I'm sitting there, and I'm going, I bet Spidey's going to thwip in through that window any second. And then they pan to the guy at the bar with the cowboy hat and the flannel. And I said,
and they focused a lot on his arms. And as soon as they did that, I'm just like, wait.
Yeah, okay, I'm going to run you through my whole... I was sitting there,
Let me hear your
guy,
process.
The guy is walking at him with a knife. And I'm like, okay. I was like, this is one of two characters. At this point in my mind, I was like, we're either... It's going to be what it is, or it's Punisher, right? I was like, this reminds me very much of Punisher Season 2, Episode 1. I was like, this could very much be Punisher. And I was like, okay, where are we going? And then they switched the camera view around where he had the beer in the one hand and his hand was sitting there. And I was yelling. I was sitting in my office yelling. I was like, don't do it. Don't do it. And then he closes his hand and the claws come out. And I said, oh my fucking God.
I know. It was just like, the swerve.
Oh. And this is something that I was so happy to see because the Insomniac Spider-Man games are fucking phenomenal. I've 100% both of them. They're so good.
Insomniac does no wrong.
And giving them another Marvel character makes my day. It makes me so happy that they got another goddamn Marvel character because I was like, okay, they're kind of Marvel's doing this thing where they just hand out, their different IPs. They're like, okay, Insomniac's got Spider-Man, Square's got Avengers. We gave Ultimate Alliance 3 to the Switch exclusive. We got Guardians coming out from another Square team. Like, they're just kind of handing them out. And I figured we'd get a Marvel universe in that sense, where they just hand them out to different teams, and then, everybody would have their own specialty. But the fact that Insomniac, who has been killing the fucking game with these, not only with the Marvel games, but with Ratchet and Clank as well, oh baby, oh my God.
Ooh,
I'm so ready. I'm so ready.
For those of you who caught on yet, because we haven't seen the name, we're getting a fucking Wolverine game made by Insomniac. Imagine those implications alone from that sentence.
Yes, it's going to be freaking awesome. Freaking awesome. I am so excited for this.
And one thing I'm hoping, it's Wolverine, so make it gory as hell. I want to see blood splattering all over the place when I'm slashing and dashing people.
Rated M.
Rated M Wolverine Marvel game. Make it happen. It has to happen. Do that character justice. That character only got one game, which was X-Men Origins, that X-Men Origins Wolverine game, which, wasn't too bad. It was pretty cool, very brutal in its own right. But now let's do that man justice, because out of all the X-Men, let's face it, if you ask someone, like, who's your favorite X-Men, the majority of them are going to say Wolverine.
100%. And the thing is about this is, like, it's huge that they're doing it, okay? It's huge that Insomniac's got another Marvel game, and I'm sure they're gonna do great things with it, right? Because it's fucking Insomniac. But the thing that really gets me and really, like, makes my mind blow is PlayStation with these goddamn acquisitions, man. Like, you not only have Spider-Man exclusive to your console, you now have the most popular X-Men on your console as an exclusive. That is insane.
Yeah, like, let's face it, when PlayStation comes to their acquisitions, their exclusives, they don't fuck around. They want to give you the best reason possible to get a PlayStation. And needless to say, with this, they definitely, turned a lot of people's heads. It's like, I might want to get a PlayStation.
Oh my gosh, yeah, like, that alone, if I didn't already have a PS5, that alone would have sold me. I would have been like, yep, I need to play this. I'm a comic book guy. I love superheroes. I love the MCU. My fucking PlayStation is covered in a Spider-Man skin. Same with my Xbox. Like, that's my jam, right? So give me that. I would definitely have a PlayStation. If I didn't already have one, it would be in my cart by the end of the week. I would figure out how to get it. I don't care if I have to beat up a scalper.
Which is definitely, I bet, a lot of people's go to backup plan for if they couldn't get a PS5. Also, I'm kind of feeling like it was around that point that you messaged me saying, like, dude, I need to get my backlog cleared out.
It was a little later. I'll let you know when we got there, because I texted you that my mind was blown after Wolverine. That was when it was like, oh my god, it's crazy.
And okay, and then next one after that was, a look at Gran Turismo 7, which, let's face it, whether you're a Forza guy or a Gran Turismo guy, you're gonna get a fucking pretty looking racing game.
Now this one, I don't really care about. I'll be 100% honest. I'm not down with this game. I already have an Xbox, and I get Forza Horizon for paying for Game Pass, so I would rather play that. But for the people on PlayStation that are PlayStation exclusives and want that racing sim, this is going to be a good one. Looking at it, it's freaking pretty. It looks good. For me personally, I'm going to play Forza Horizon because I'm not big on racing games to begin with, and only reason I'm playing Forza Horizon 5 is because it looks very pretty. Like, that's it. That's all I want.
But don't get us wrong, Gran Turismo 7 also looks very pretty, and they definitely
100%. 100%.
And they definitely made sure to emphasize that in the trailer, if you didn't notice, because when they were showing off that ray tracing with the reflection on the cars, in my mind I was going like, PlayStation probably had a meeting before this saying like, oh, they think, you think Forza's got, good ray tracing and is a pretty racing game. We'll show you a pretty racing game, and basically matched Forza on that front.
Yeah, no.
Now I know if like, and like I said, I probably personally won't pick it up because I don't really too much care for racing sim games. Only really racing games I kind of care about is the Need for Speed games. That'd be about the only one, just because those are wild fun. Getting cop chases all over the map and stuff like that. The
next one was the next Insomniac game, correct?
Oh yeah, Insomniac wasn't done with Wolverine. No. And
let me say, okay? Let me say before we get into what this actually is. When this trailer started, we had talked in the predictions video. Well, you had talked in your predictions video that there was the rumor about the Infamous game getting
that's immediately where my mind
went. That's where my brain went, where the light when he was electrocuted and hit the lamppost, I was like, oh my god, it's happening.
Like, my brother was like here and he was like talking away, and like as soon as I saw the electricity, I'm just like, shut the
fuck up. I genuinely thought this was an Infamous game. I'm not upset with what it is, okay? I'm not mad at all. But at the same time, they teased me, and I was a little sad. But then it was immediately wiped away because it was fantastic.
It was immediately rectified. It was fantastic. Yes. Why? Because Insomniac, with the initial swerve in that first trailer that they dropped, made up for it with the actual announcement of Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, that was the thing. Is like, I saw the Insomniac logo in the Wolverine trailer, and I was like, oh, so we're not getting any news about Spider-Man right now because they've been working on Wolverine. They're working on Wolverine. We're going to get Wolverine, then we'll get Spider-Man 2. Then they go ahead and drop this trailer immediately fucking after, and I was like, what is going on?
Insomniac's balls are fucking huge right now.
Oh my god, dude. Like, but the fact of the matter, we know Venom is confirmed. Venom is 100% confirmed. We see him in the damn trailer, which I'm pretty sure everybody was pretty much on the page. Everyone was on that page after the post-credit scene in Spider-Man 1.
Yeah, and god did he look good. Like,
looks
obviously
fantastic.
Still gotta wait to see like the full design. We just got his head, but so far, chef's kiss.
Like, but the other villain is also confirmed. If you have any, if you have any knowledge of Spider-Man, you know that there was the narrator of that trailer asking for a worthy opponent. Something. It's Kraven. It's fucking Kraven the Hunter.
Oh yeah, honestly, I was so caught up in like the hype of just, the fact that we were actually getting a Spider-Man 2 announcement when I just kind of threw out there as like my wild prediction, not something I was fully expecting. But I was just so caught up in like the hype. I didn't pay attention too much to the narration. But now that you mentioned it, I do remember him saying that. And I was like, oh shit, we are getting Kraven.
Yeah, because he was like, we'll want it. Because Miles Morales was also in this trailer. We know, I have a theory on Miles, and I'll get to that here in a second. Did I lose you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, no, you're there. You're there. Thought we had technical difficulties, but Miles was in the trailer, and I definitely thought that I have a theory. I'll get there, but he says, will one of you give me what I desire, which is basically, Kraven's always looking for the perfect hunt, the perfect thing to be after.
Yeah.
And with 2 Spider-Men, he's got, in Spider-Man is his perfect hunt. That's how it works in the comics. He's got 2 Spider-Men to work from, okay? Which is awesome. That's how I knew immediately. I was like, oh, it's Kraven. But then they cut to the black and you hear, we will give it to you. And I was like, first off, that sounds like Tom Hardy's Venom. Okay, I was like, they literally ripped Venom's voice from the Venom movies and threw him in this trailer.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, that's pretty nice. I like that. But
literally the exact same voice.
Yeah, it sounded spot on. Okay, so my theory with Miles is that, we face Kraven. He's going to be the main villain for the vast majority of the game. He's going to be the big bad.
Right.
And then he might be too much for Peter. So Peter uses the power of the black suit, merges with Venom. And, we have like a Spider-Man 3 scenario where the suit makes him more powerful. He takes down Kraven, but then becomes corrupted by it. And being that we know that Miles is in this game, Miles is going to be the one that takes him down. And, it's like the grasshopper becoming the master scenario.
Okay. So, first off, I feel like how the game's going to play out, we're going to be able to switch between, Peter Spider-Man and Miles Morales Spider-Man. Whether it be like on the fly or maybe like special missions or moments in the stories, we'd be able to switch between the two. Now, in terms of the main villain, I don't know if Kraven's going to be like the main protagonist. He'll be one of them, but I don't know if he's going to be like the main one. The reason why I think this, in first Spider-Man with Doc Ock, that was like a very emotional villain for Peter to go up against, and he wasn't even like the main villain for good portion of the game. It wasn't until like a bit, I want to say like the latter half, he became the actual villain.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm getting at. It was a very like emotionally attached villain for Peter to go up against, and that's why Doc Ock was like one of his toughest fights.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I feel like in Spider-Man 2, I think the main villain is going to be one or 2 people or like a pairing. And that'll be Venom and then Mr. Osborn as like, Green Goblin. I feel like we still get Green Goblin in this game. And the reason why is because, Spider-Man's or Peter's friendship, with the Osborns, not just with, Mr. Osborn, but also Harry, and the fact that at that Easter egg like scene at the end of the Spider-Man credits, you see that Harry's the one in that sort of incubator with the Venom gene or Venom symbiote. It makes me think like, oh, this is gonna be another like very emotionally like emotionally driven like villain that's gonna really test Spider-Man.
I think you're on to something. I don't know about the switching back and forth between Miles situation, because this is Spider-Man 2, right? It's not Spider-Man Miles Morales 2. I would really prefer that when we go back and forth between, that we really focus on one character. That's just me. I just think that, I would love to see another game with Miles as the sole focus rather than them do this back and forth scenario. Right?
But you're right. But I do really feel like it's at least for certain like missions or story moments.
I think that you are onto something, because just how the way the first game was structured, with Doc Ock being, coming in at the latter half of the game, we had Mr. Negative for the first half, right? I think that could be Kraven. For the first half of the game, Kraven is the big enemy. And then we see, toward the end of that, arc, we see Venom come into play. And we do see that Harry is kind of tied to Venom in some way in that incubator. And we see at the end of Spider-Man Miles Morales, spoiler, that they let Harry out of the incubator. And that's the emotional thing I think that we're going to get. I don't think, actually, now that you've reminded me of all this, that we're going to see Spider-Man Peter Parker merge with Venom. We're going to see a battle between Harry Osborn as Venom versus Spider-Man, and that's going to be that emotionally charged battle that we got, out of the first game and Miles Morales.
Yeah, it could. And then another way could go another way, because I can very much see this happening, and it would still kind of support your theory, is like maybe in this emotionally charged like battle, Peter sees like what the symbiote's doing to Harry, and like in his mind, the only way to save Harry is to take on the symbiote himself in some way.
And this, it's definitely a possibility. There's another, the end scenario I think is we do get Black Suit Peter, because that was the
Yeah.
logo. We saw that logo. But I wonder if...
Yeah, it wasn't Miles Morales' black suit. It was the black suit.
And it could be, like you were saying with Green Goblin, that, you know, maybe Peter does get the black suit and he takes Venom in thinking he's going to save Harry, but Venom's actually the only thing keeping Harry alive because we found out he was sick, and that's why he was in the incubator. Maybe that kills Harry, and that's what initiates Green Goblin. And Green Goblin is the final big bad of the of the game.
Like, it could be something like, you know, Peter finds out like what Harry's dad did to him, or like, you know, supposedly keeping him alive, but you know, once the symbiote takes over Peter, you know, his mind gets like warped and everything, so he starts blaming Mr. Osborn for Harry's death. And then that's when we really start to see, you know, Peter turn to that sort of dark side. And then that's when I think, you know, we get even more focused on Miles, because now he's the only one that can really stop Spider-Man from like doing something that he knows he'll regret. So
yeah,
a lot of emotions can run high in this game.
A lot of speculation from us. We need to move on to the next game.
Yeah, I was gonna say we'll definitely have, like, once more is shown on it, we'll definitely have more to speculate on it, because, you know, this game, sadly, as hype as it is, it's a little ways away. It's got a 2023 release date, so we got some time.
Which is what we predicted that. We predicted that it was going to be a 2023 game in the last podcast when we said there would be a teaser for the new Spider-Man.
Yeah, which we kind of saw it coming. But, you know, so even after that, Sony's not done swinging their fucking big dick around in this whole showcase. No, because we got some that, you know, obviously has been kind of reported on a lot over the course of the past, like, week or two, or at least since this showcase was announced. But we finally got ourselves our first look in terms of story and gameplay for God of War Ragnarok. Oh boy!
Yes. It looks really good. I can honestly say I haven't played God of War 2018. It's on the to-do list.
Shame on you.
I know. But there's you know, other games, like after the showcase, I was so excited I booted up the PlayStation 5 and we're rocking Ghost of Tsushima on the third monitor over here. But but yeah, it looks really good. It looks really good. I can't talk too much on it because I don't know, you know, the story of the first God of War in the Norse set. But they specifically said that this is going to cap off the Norse saga. This is going to be the last game with Norse mythology.
Yeah, which I find that interesting. The fact, like, they said that, like, this is going to cap off Norse mythology. Does that mean if we do get, like, more God of War, are we going to have, like, Kratos and you know, his son diving into more mythologies? Are we gonna get some sort of like video game universe where just like all kinds of mythologies and religions are just culminated into one world with Kratos at the center of it?
And I think that'd be really cool. I'm really curious what the conclusion is to this game, God of War Ragnarok, and I'm very curious as to if they set it up to go elsewhere. Because, I mean, with the original trilogy, we didn't really expect them to come back to Kratos. I mean, the ending of that game was very much like, kind of like, this is the end of an era. But then, you know, we saw the God of War 2018 trailer, and we're like, no freaking way. I'm wondering if they'll do something along similar lines where they leave it, you know, dead set, like this is the end of this, or if they give us more of a hint toward what is next.
Yeah, and see, here's the thing, like, they're like theories I could say right now, but since you have to play the game, I can't, because there's definitely one way this game could go, I could say, pertaining to like some stuff that happened in the first game. Not first game, God of War 2018. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, play that fucking game already, so I can speculate around you.
I will get there. Okay, I will get there. But and there was no release date for it. But I've seen on Twitter. I saw on Twitter. I don't know if it's like just a gag or if it was somebody being genuine. But I saw something that there was a release date in the runes. But I don't know if that is 100%. I haven't fact checked that at all. But I did see something posted on Twitter regarding that. But like I said, who knows?
I in my mind, I feel like we do get God of War Ragnarok next year, maybe like towards the
I think it's.
holidays. 'Cause-
I was gonna say I think it's a holiday release because they said they still had to finish the game.
yeah, but I mean, like they showed like enough in terms of like both story and gameplay that had me thinking, like, yeah, this game is like gonna come like at least holiday next year because it looks like they're, even though they say they're not done yet, it still looks like they're pretty far along.
I bet at this point they're just wrapping up a couple, polishing things, fixing bugs, doing that kind of stuff. Get this game ready for
Yeah.
launch.
Yeah, all kinds of things. Maybe like still more scenes or like fights to work on in that game. I will say, like, even though you haven't played, and from the gameplay I saw, there looked to be some like at least cool different enemy types than what we got in the first game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm keen to hop in, play the first one, and get ready for this one. I know that because it's going to be a later release next year, it's still it's farther down in the backlog. I'm gonna finish up Ghost of Tsushima. I'm gonna hit Horizon Zero Dawn, finish that one up. I'd like to play Days Gone and stuff before the rest of the, but I don't know if I'll get around to it because Deathloop's coming out. I'm still playing Psychonauts 2. There's a bunch of games right now, so we'll see when I get around to. We'll see when I get around to a lot of the backlog. But that wrapped up the showcase. Overall,
yes,
give me your thoughts. Give me your thoughts. Summarize your emotions after watching this.
So my emotions after watching this, as the showcase went on, that we had that first half. That first half was basically me going, I was like, all right, we got some like cool new shit that has me interested, some updates on stuff I've been really looking forward to. And then, when those like few trailers popped up, like what was it? Like when like GTA popped up, and then games like Guardians of the Galaxy, Deathloop, Extraction. Those are games where it's like, okay, I've seen like enough of these games or know enough about them that I don't really need to see more of them in this showcase. But when they got to the big dick part with the PlayStation Studio games, that last final stretch, I was hopping out my seat. I'm just like, it's go time, baby.
Yeah,
overall, I will say I wasn't disappointed. I just thought there was like a few weird inclusions there that I feel like didn't need to be, but overall I'm very pleased. I'm very pleased. I'll put it at that.
Overall, for me, I'm very excited. I'm very much looking forward to what they have in store. But at the same time, there was so much filler crap there that I felt didn't need to be there. I didn't see enough of the stuff I was looking forward to. But like I said, I'm very excited. They got a very strong lineup looking for early 2022, which is good considering their very weak lineup going into the end of this year. But
yeah,
again, it was the same thing I was complaining about last week on the podcast when we were doing our predictions, was that I want to see what's coming now, and they showed me stuff I am excited for. I'm genuinely very much looking forward to Spider-Man and Wolverine and all that stuff, but they didn't show me a ton of what's coming right now. They showed me what the future is.
Yeah, which I mean, like they did say that. They said like we're gonna show you like what the future holds for like PS5, but it's like how far into the future.
And then they didn't talk about a lot of, they said that, a lot of games, when they announced the PlayStation 5, they believed in generations and they would be PlayStation 5 games, and they were only capable because of the power of the PS5. That we've known that's not true now because, we got Miles Morales on PS4, we're getting Horizon Forbidden West on PS4, and we're getting God of War Ragnarok on PS4 and Gran Turismo. So it's like, how many more games are we going to port over to the PS4?
Yeah. So it's like out of like this whole list, the only games that I know of so far only for PS5 would be like games like the Knights of the Old Republic remake. That's one. That Project Eve game, unless that's, multi-platform game. We don't know for sure. I think Forspoken is PS5 only. And then Ghostwire Tokyo. I assume Vampire Blood Hunt would be, but I think that, again, that might be a game that's on multiple platforms, I feel like. But PlayStation is just the ones that got to announce it.
Yeah.
What else? And then Marvel's Wolverine. I feel like that'll be a PS5 one. I mean, it has to be.
You would hope.
Yeah.
But that wraps up this bonus episode of Enter the Chat. Thank you all for entering the chat with us. We will still have our normal episode next week. We just wanted to do this, because honestly, we were just going to text each other on Twitter regardless of if we did the podcast or not. So it was easier to just hop on and start recording and post this episode.
Yep.
But yeah, so we throw up the bonus episode. There'll still be another episode next week. We'll figure out something to talk about. I'm sure we're really good at just bullshitting. That's kind of the whole fun of the show.
Pretty much.
But in the meantime, thank you all. Check out the YouTube channel if you want to see the video formats or any of our other content that we post up there all the time. Check us out on podcast services. Still working on getting us on iTunes. But without further ado, thank you, and we'll catch you next time.